Don't do the templates. Clients need you. If you take them this industry on, if you really care about it, team up with super creative people in all aspects and make sure you're giving every client the best possible thing because they're relying on you. The best part is that everybody's going to jump in. Everybody's going to think it's so freaking easy. All of a sudden, there'll be too many people doing the same thing, nothing like marketers to ruin a thing. And then after that, the weak will die off, the strong will survive, and it happens, rinse and repeat every 5-10 years.
Hey guys, welcome back to the show. Today we're joined by Tolep. He is the vice president at the OGK Creative, and he's spent over 30 years in the marketing space. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, my brother. How are you, man?
Doing well, man. It's a great day. How are you?
I do it. Everything's good here in Boca Raton. We've got rid of a lot of the northerners. They left us. We've got roads that aren't congested. Life is good.
Yeah, you got all the Canadians, they go back around April, May, so if you lose them.
And my friends make fun of me. They're like, "You're a New Yorker." I'm like, "I know, but I've been down here for so long."
Yeah. At some point, you just become a local. You just assimilate.
Exactly. It's a transformation that just occurs out of nowhere.
Yeah, awesome, man. Well, really glad to have you on the show here. Can you just start off, tell us a bit about your experience and what you guys do at the OGK?
Sure. So on a personal level, I love to help clients where they're usually kind of stuck, looking to get a little more revenue, a little bit more awareness, change their packaging, whatever their problem may be. And whether it's like trying to work with a small individual company, a startup, could be a Fortune 500 company, the themes are about the same, which is people don't really want to hire anybody else. They want to do it themselves, but because either they don't have the time or they don't have the talent, they turn to us to just make that phone ring and just help them out, take some pressure off their life. So that's kind of me and OGK all rolled into one.
Love them. And then what do you guys primarily do for them? Is it like brand strategy development, figuring out, what's the essence of the brand? Is it rolling out like paid ad strategies? What does that actually look like?
You know, what's funny is if you had 10 client meetings in a row, there's not one that's identical to the other. The most important thing we believe is you got to kind of meet people wherever they are. We'll get a phone call. Somebody will say, "Do you do Facebook? Do you do headshots? Can you make me a business card?" But whatever the thing is that they need. And then by being a good detective, by being a great therapist, by really caring about how will we put more Benjamins in their pocket, you start to explore each individual client on a one-on-one basis. Some people need strategy. Some people can't even describe what the heck they do for a living. So we always have to figure out where's the hole and how do we fill it for that particular situation. Listing out every little service that you just mentioned 2 minutes ago.
Yeah, interesting. And how do you kind of go in and figure out, diagnose like what's the actual problem? Because I see a lot of companies where maybe they think the problem is one thing, but then when you actually dive in, you're like, okay, it's something we didn't even think about or they hadn't even thought of. How do you appropriately go into a company and figure out this is actually the bottleneck and this is what we need to work on?
Yeah, that's where the detective hat goes on. And I find that you have to be a chameleon. So yesterday I was with a company that manufactures glass for showers. And our conversation was so much different than 2 hours later when I met with a tequila company. So how do you do it is by sticking to the core, sticking to the foundation, asking questions. For example, can you explain to me, who are you? And when they struggle with that and we dig a little deeper and they say, what is it that you do for the world? And here's my favorite one. Why should anyone care? And when they can't answer these simple fundamental questions, these foundation questions, we know we've got no choice but to start from the beginning and to really start to work backwards. Like, who do you sell to? Who do you work with? Who do you desire? What's the magnet? And that's really how it happens. It's really a lot of detective and research work in the early stages.
It almost sounds like uncovering like things they don't know
Yeah.
there too. Like maybe they've never been asked that before. Like what is the essence of your brand? What do you actually stand for and stuff? So then I would assume it's some foundational work after that to define the core brand pillars, what you guys stand for. And then from there, you can piggyback a strategy off of it, right?
It's so true. And where the fun really begins is you can't just ask these same questions to every single person. And why is that? Well, one guy comes in, he's very into numbers. He's a scientific guy, he's engineering brain. So if I asked him a question, what would your brand be like as a human? Their brain is going to freaking explode. If I ask a marketing guy who is really into storytelling, tell me about your KPIs and what kind of delta do you want, they're going to freak out. So before you even ask the questions, you got to really know, am I dealing with an orange? Am I dealing with a peach? Am I dealing with a banana? And then you could break into the questions. Otherwise, you got a mess on your hands sometimes. And I've been there and learned the hard way.
Yeah, 100%. Like completely different people. Yeah, completely different people in marketing.
Who am I working with, right? So sometimes CEOs, they're amazing visionaries, but when it comes down to brass tacks about a marketing, like a budget or really crunching numbers, it's not their forte. Bring the CFO in. Let's answer them that question. And then let the two of them beat each other up on priorities and where are we going and set the stage and, give them the ammunition so that they can work seamlessly together. That's the goal, basically. It was like empowerment. Get these people ready to go because we won't always be there to polish their elevator pitch, to help them with their color theory. We won't always be next to them. You got to empower these folks on their own.
And does that come in the form of a lot of that high level, like defining who you are, what you stand for? Because that becomes the basis by which you can then do everything else, right?
I really do. I think you can pivot. Is it really any different from building a house? If you're going to start to build a home, wouldn't you have a great blueprint first before you started going to get hammers and nails and carpeting? Get your blueprint. If your blueprint isn't solid, you're kind of screwed.
100%. I'm actually curious too. I do a lot of these with marketing leaders, and I find that people tend to exist on some continuum of that really quantifiable attribution database marketing, all the way to some agencies who are very brand messaging focused. Who do you want to be portrayed as to your audience and stuff like, what is your take on that? Where would you say you guys kind of fit along that continuum?
To be honest with you, I'd like you to go deeper in your question. I think I got a grasp part, but just so I can answer it perfectly, take me deeper into what you're actually asking. I'm not 100% clear.
Yeah, 100%. I find some agencies are really focused on the numbers. What is your lifetime value? What's your acquisition cost? What's all the data behind your funnel, basically? And then we talk to other agencies and they're the complete opposite. They're like, we're doing long-term 5-year brand building plays that we might not be able to quantify and stuff. So that's kind of the two sides of the market.
Now I understand. So this reminds me of an old expression that when you're a hammer, everybody looks like a nail, right? So think
Yep.
about that for if you are constantly preaching the numbers, it means that's who you are as a person, going back to that example before. But it's impossible to have like one set of questioning, one style, because everybody's going to need you in a different capacity, which is why we must pivot based on who is in front of us, what pain threshold they have, what do you want to talk about today? Yeah, and you got to do it in baby steps. Because if you dig too deep, too quick, you're going to lose them. And one of my favorite expressions is that a confused mind is an absolute no, and they're going to run for the hills. So there's a pace to these types of things, holding back, making sure that you don't overwhelm your client. Very important. And what do I get yelled at by my clients all the time? Why didn't you tell me about phase two? Like, why are you telling me about this now? Why didn't you tell me this in the beginning? Okay, well, how much do you think you could actually handle? We're going to talk about rebranding you up to 20 years. We're going to change your entire way people have been looking at you. You want to add marketing theory on top of that? We can't do that as people. So I'll take the beating. I'll let them be upset with me, but I got to pace them because once you overwhelm a client, it's not a good thing.
100%.
So,
So do you,
so you don't always hit it. Sometimes people will be loving you. Sometimes they're frustrated. You do the best you can. And, every day we care. Nobody's perfect. We're doing the best we can here. It's a
Yeah.
people business. So That's all that matters. You got to have fun. And we believe in the end result. We will push the envelope. We will say no to a CEO. Somebody is a billionaire. I will stand up next to him. I've done it already. Said, I disagree with you. And they're not happy. You got to be ready to be fired in order for the end result to be amazing. That's important.
I think for a lot of those people, nobody's ever done that. Like, especially on their team too. I guess that's an argument for bringing in an agency is like, we're going to tell you no filter what we actually think to be true here.
Yep. That's exactly right. The two owners built this agency for basically exactly that. In their careers, they didn't stand up to their bosses. They let them hold back their true feelings. And they said, we're going to build an agency that's going to push the envelope and let the chips fall what they may. And it's worked out pretty well for us over the years.
Would you say, when you say like, what is your brand essence and stuff, you work with clients on that, would you say that's a core component of your core brand at the OGK?
I think so. I think that's very important. And people wrestle with that. It's very hard. So how do you get them past it? You got to take them out of their, their shell of protectionism and every answer has to be perfect. Let's go get a beer. And let's just talk about, like, if your brand was a human, it goes out on a date, how do you want it to behave? And by asking those kind of questions, they could start to see it. And if they don't get it, then I'll start to paint a picture. All right. So who do you see as your brand? Is it the guy that's at the party? He's hanging out on the back wall. He's the wallflower. He's not talking to the chicks. Or is he the braggadocious guy that walks over to the hottest girl and go, come on, baby, it's you and me. Talk to me. Well, and then by doing that, they start to get it because you have to have fun with it, and paint pictures and extract and pull. Because let's face it, a lawyer, a doctor, insurance, actuaries, they don't think like that. So
Yeah.
that's where we come in to really help them pull it up.
Then that must be a crazy challenge too, to take something like an actuary, a lawyer, like traditionally very boring things, and then add personality to it and add like a brand to it that people can get excited about.
Yeah, it's very hard. The first big category we tackled was specialty pharmacy. And when we started in that space, fell into it by accident, every single brand was white and blue. Very sterile. The imagery, everybody had a lab coat on. Like you see the warehouse, everything with the pharmaceutical label. Come on, every single brand doing the same. And that's when we went to gold and to come up with Olympics and Greek mythology and take them completely out of that. And it worked very well. But boy, it was not easy getting them across that threshold. It was not
Yeah,
easy.
interesting. I'm curious too, because you guys work with such a wide variety of, sounds like very different clients. What challenges does that bring? Like, is that difficult switching from that glass company to a pharmaceutical company to maybe a smaller startup and stuff? Does that make it hard to grow the business and to deliver for clients?
For us, it's not. And we've been doing it for so long. What's hard is the client, because what people will do naturally is, I'm a hospital. So can you show me 5 examples of 5 hospitals you've done already? That's their mindset. So if you've done 5 hospitals already, you must be good at me and helping me with my hospital. We flip it on its head and we say, that makes no sense. How many great ideas do you think that hospital agency is going to have? They're only going to have 1 or 2. So by the time you're number 5, you're just getting regurgitated garbage. Now, for us, we've never done it. Never. You want to trust us? Yeah, because we're going to learn the industry. We're going to become sponges. We're going to really absorb, and we're going to see it from a different angle. Maybe we learned something from a cosmetic company, a surfing company, and we'll apply that brilliance into your particular hospital. And that for us is exciting. But it's not easy for the clients, boy. It's not easy for them to say, all right, I trust you. That part's hard.
Yeah, 100%. I love that frame too, is like bringing a diverse set of experiences, because you see a lot of agencies that work within a niche. Like they work with one type of business and stuff, and they never really stray outside of that.
And on the inside, over years, we've wrestled with that decision. Should we become just a healthcare company because we have so much? Or should we open it up and lead general? And for an agency on the internal, it's a very difficult decision to make.
100%.
Yeah. How do you
100%.
present that for you as well in regards to your podcast and finding different type of people within your own creative? Do you like to stay in a niche or do you like to open it up and make it wider?
We've tried both. We've operated pretty wide with the agency for several years, gotten exposure to lots of different projects, verticals, everything and stuff. But I do think that at least for us, niching down or niching down, as I guess you guys pronounce it in the US, is like the way to go there. So we played with the niches, a lot of fintechs, AI projects and stuff as well. But I find for us, it makes the delivery and fulfillment a little bit easier and stuff. Because like when you bring on a new client, it's not like relearning an entire industry, new strategy, completely new product and stuff. You have like a good base of things to work off of. And some of that's just on the development and AI side. That's what we've found. But I do love going into a new industry and learning it to build a project for them. So I completely respect that. It is fun.
And that's where, thank God, AI is really helping us because to work at speed, to help you with table of contents, with scraping the web so much faster, it's been really a godsend in regards to elevating the level of how fast we could pump out work. And I'm enjoying that AI is now available for everybody. It's great.
Mm.
It's wonderful.
Yeah. What are some of the ways that you're using AI in the company right now?
My God, what a loaded question, dude. There- It'll go from the typical what you would think of for content creation and coming up with killer headlines, maybe some naming opportunities, some sub headlines, imagery suggestions. So that's one bucket, obvious. You got audience targeting for media buying. That helps us with a faster ability to analyze data. Let's see, we got personalization, chatbots. I mean, it goes on and on. For me, one of my specialties is bringing in new business. The proposals have been always a struggle. How do you entertain someone when you're talking about line items and numbers and milestones? How are you going to entertain somebody at the same time? If you bore them in a presentation, they're looking at you like, thought you're the creative guy. Yeah, well, this is a contract. This is an agreement. This is a proposal. Yeah, well, I still don't want to be bored. And that's where artificial intelligence is also really helping us with personality and fun and making sure that they really can feel what they're about to get, especially in a media buy, which is pretty dry when you think about it.
100%. I'm curious because you guys work with such a diverse, set of different clients too. I'd assume AI has a big lift for you there too, in terms of being able to, go into a new industry, learn it quickly, deliver and fulfill
Yeah. Yeah.
within it too.
No doubt. Like you mentioned the head of the show. I've been around doing this for literally 3 decades now. And when I go back in my brain, I start thinking about my early days working for Sony and Japanese animation. When AOL was first introduced to us and we could start doing chat rooms and forums, like being able to hear from the kids about what kind of cartoon characters they loved was so much fun. It's the exact same scenario today, except it's just a little faster. So we used to have a calculator to play with numbers, and now we have a complete mainframe to crunch numbers. The principles are pretty much the same. It's just AI is replacing the way we used to use old-fashioned Yahoo's, Bings, and Googles. It's really not much different.
100%. Because I guess you've seen like the evolution of technology for the last 30 years. What has that been like? Because I feel like even like the data, like attribution tracking, everything, I'm assuming that like didn't exist even 10, 20 years ago. Right. So like what phases have you seen over the last 30 years?
Well, let's just start with one that just jumps off the page, which was we were big into print, right? So back in the day, worked for an agency, and you sit down with people that were the old-fashioned business card printers or brochures. Well, when web came out, they were pissed off. They're like, we don't want any part of that. Some of them stayed true to their old-fashioned ways. The ones that were not the laggards, but the visionaries that jumped onto using the Zazzles of the world, all of a sudden their business was growing exponentially, and the old-fashioned guys fell apart. So this has been going on forever in regards to various industries that would take the film business versus digital photography. People that were doing Photoshop back in the day, like you take those old loyalists, those 35 millimeter guys, they're not going to touch their film. Okay, well, you basically extinct. There's a few left, but very few. And now everybody with their iPhone could take the most gorgeous pictures. So every category you'll see it in. You better be one step ahead of everybody else. You will be left beyond. It's a guarantee.
And then especially, yeah, with AI changing the industry right now, how do you ensure that you stay ahead?
Well, here's the interesting part. You tell me, don't you believe that everybody's got ChatGPT in their phone? Everybody's got Jasper. Everybody's got Midjourney. Everybody has it. So you're not any one step ahead better than your competitor one block away on either side of you. Everybody has access to the same tools. What will make it different? Your human brain and expertise blending in with how fast and deep you're learning the technology and putting the two together can be the only separator. And I don't see that ever changing, especially for the next phase one, phase two, phase three of AI. I mean, unless it could start thinking like a human, which who knows, maybe it can. For right now, I think we're good if you've got the human skill set blended together with AI. And I'll tell you, I see it with my clients sometimes. They'll be like, I don't need you anymore. I just created a synthesia video or something like that. And then we look at it, it's like, that's shit. That is, oh, I mean, you're not going to actually use it. Does it have video and audio and a character? Yeah, but there's no creativity to it. You can tell in 2 seconds AI did it, and your competitor will have the same thing. Now, how do you expect the client to pick you? You're not. So there you go.
Do you think it's a balance? It's maintaining that human element in the age of AI is really important to stand out.
I'm sticking with that for right now. 100%. We are working on projects right now, whether it's building out the framework or coming up with different ideas for a client, doing brand architecture for a client. If you don't know how to set up those machine prompts, and then once it spits out, looking at it and go, yeah, that's exactly what I wanted, or no, that's totally not. The word salads, the repetition of words, the generic scraping of the web, the antiquated technology that it's giving me. If you don't know that, you're probably going to guide your client in the wrong direction. And here's the scary part. It looks amazing. So when it spits it out, it's like, wow, look how professional that looks. No typos, beautifully balanced, lines in between all the output. I got to show this to my client. Okay, but it's wrong. And clearly, if you have expertise, would you know that? So AI scares me a little bit. It's going to hurt some people. There's no doubt.
So you think it really comes down to the agencies that will get ahead are those that use AI the best in the right use cases?
It has to be. It's no different that if you took the tools away, the ones with talent will move ahead. The ones that are the posers that are just going ahead and templatizing, coming up with cookie cutter ways, they'll make some money, but will they make it in the long run? Are they going to come up with Super Bowl commercials? I doubt it. I seriously doubt it. And what's really starting to scare me on the downside of AI is we have a lot of hacking possibilities. You're putting a lot of information into these systems. You have a lot of artificial intelligence biases that are happening. They go into racial and DEI type situations. You got job displacement issues. So there's going to be some fallout with AI. It ain't going to be all pretty, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a crazy time. And I feel like we've never seen like a change in the technology space move this quickly before, or at least I haven't. It's happening at light speed and it's almost like a full-time job just keeping up.
Did you see the documentary film? And it had Bill Gates in it, and it was Bezos and Elon Musk, and they were all talking about they didn't want it to come out now. They were hoping like 5 years from now, but they weren't ready to roll it out. But yet it did get rolled out, and they're like, "Oh damn, I don't know what's gonna happen." That scared the living bejesus out of me.
Yeah, it is like the Pandora's box has been open now and like there's not really any going back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel
I
terrible for industries that are getting wiped out. It's happening as we speak. People are being replaced in certain industries. You really don't need them anymore. That's kind of nuts. It's developed.
What do you think the future of the marketing space looks like with AI coming in?
Well, could you pick a category and then we could dive deep? Because that's such a generic question. Let's do a real life example. What are you thinking?
Let's do like what do you think your agency looks like in 2 years? What's the balance of human AI? Like what are you guys doing? What do you think is fully automated?
Yeah. Okay. So what I believe in the future is that there's going to be more content creation video tools coming out. The type of replica and name, image, likeness that they're doing with celebrity in phase 1 is so incredible that by the time the phase 3 comes out, I think there will be a lot less need for true video production and photography, going outbound and shooting using drones and things of that nature. And I see a lot more very high-end video tools coming in the next couple of years that are going to make the affordability for clients that really right now don't want to spend 100 grand on a 30-second commercial. It will be available to them with these kind of tools. The AI voiceover talent is crap right now. It sounds like a robot, but pretty soon, 2, 3 more years from now, accents, articulation, pitch, it's all coming. And that's what I see happening, especially
100%.
motion, 3D, augmented reality, spatial, it's all coming.
And I think like as content becomes easier to produce, I almost think that that human brand voice, so like ability to evoke emotional reaction will get more important because you have to stand out in this sea of AI generated like bullshit content.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Absolutely. The best part is that everybody's going to jump in. Everybody's going to think it's so freaking easy. Then all of a sudden, there'll be too many people doing the same thing, nothing like marketers to ruin a thing. And then after that, the weak will die off, the strong will survive, and it happens, rinse and repeat every 5, 10 years. So it'll happen
Yep.
again.
I wanna go back to an interesting point you made, which is that the people who use AI the best will be the winners over the next few years. And stuff like how have you guys used AI in the company and gotten it to produce like an effective result? Because I think there's a lot of people out there that are just using ChatGPT like out of the box and they look at it and they say, oh, it's not that good. Like it's not really changing the entire business and stuff.
Mhm.
Like what have you guys done that's had a real impact on the business?
One thing for sure that's had a real impact is that there is very little patience from the time somebody comes in for our first meeting, shakes our hand, says, I love your portfolio, nice people. How fast can you get me a proposal? To the ability of making sure that when you are in front of them the next time, you thought it through, that you've put a lot of intel, some SWOT analysis, some real love into what are you going to do for them, especially if you're going to be asking for some significant dollar. The ability to utilize AI to help us at speed become part of them and to learn their industry and their association and to have it give us some inspiration so that we can fine tune has been a major game changer. I got up to speed on a healthcare specialty industry within eye care that I literally felt like I was an expert in literally days. It would have taken me before that 2 to 3 years probably to really get to where I was at. It's mind blowing. It's almost overwhelming how much information you take in. That's where it's been a real big benefit.
Just like the amount you can do for clients and how fast.
Yeah, but you better have the patience to dig. You better have the patience to throw away some of the high level, top level information. Because if you're not digging for gold, it all looks good in the very, very beginning. In the first phase that it comes out, what I love to do with my machine prompts, I like to yell at it. I'm like, come on, you could do better than, and we have fun, just me, me and the machine. And by the time you get to level 3, 4, and 5, you are getting some gold. But that's a good tip for the audience. Don't take the first prompts that come out. You really want to dig with AI, right? Tell it to slow down. Tell it it can. It's not exactly what you wanted for. You'll get gold, but you do have to dig for it, even with artificial intelligence.
100%. And I think that is the difference between maybe someone who's not familiar with marketing, using AI to develop marketing assets or marketing strategy versus someone who really knows what to look for, is you can prompt it, you can dig, you know what you're actually going after and stuff,
Yeah.
and just your end results can be so much better.
That's exactly right. I was in New York City. I went to my gym, met my trainer for the first time. She told me she was extremely AI technophobic. She hated the idea of it. And I said to her, I don't understand. Where's the fear coming from? Wouldn't it be great if somebody told you they had an injury and that you could come up with great exercises for physio, for therapy? Wouldn't that be great if you had that in your brain? So I worked with her on some machine prompts right there during my session. We pulled up ChatGPT. We came up with some ideas. Mine was blown. Now she's
Yeah.
addicted to it only because she was introduced in a way that wouldn't hurt her. It would help her.
And that's where I think there's a lot of fear around AI as well that you see. And it's interesting, like there's such a wide range of like people's understanding of it and how much they've adopted it as well. And I think a lot of the people that haven't used it a lot still seem like very hesitant or almost very scared of the technology. Whereas then you have on the other side of the spectrum, like the super users who are like, I can do anything now with AI.
Yep, that's exactly right. Yeah, think about this. My brother's a doctor, so he can sit down with a client right now and pull up some AI and have it ask the patient questions like in a telecommuting type of thing, telemedicine kind of thing. And it would have taken him his entire career to be able to ask those same kind of questions. So if it's taking you 30 years to be able to develop the expertise, the skill set, the diagnosis, and a computer can do it in literally a matter of seconds, wouldn't that
Mhm.
freak you out a little bit?
Yeah,
Like,
it's
what else?
nuts.
Am I worthless? Like, I worked that hard my whole entire life to be able to get to this stage, and now I'm
Yeah.
being replaced by a phone? It's kind of
Yeah.
crazy.
Some some of the AI in medical is fascinating as well.
Oh,
Like they've done like skin cancer diagnoses at like a higher percentage accuracy than doctors. They have like, have you seen also the complete like the machines, like the robots that are doing surgeries now as well?
yes. And in the law profession as well, where it asks to do the bar and what do they get one wrong?
Yep. That's nuts.
Uh, That's insane. Yeah,
Yeah.
that that is friggin' insane.
I think the
Strap on because it's gonna be a crazy ride.
yeah. I think it's tricky too. Like if you were like a kid coming out of school right now, it's like, what do you do? Like, what's a safe career path now at the rate everything is changing? You know?
Yep. And I have a little side project. I give back to the community. I have a new gig coming out called My Dream Job. And I'm working with a couple of people right now. They're so frightened. They're so afraid of even trying. Like, I give up. Why would I even bother? Like, well, you're 22 and you need to earn an income. So there is no giving up. And we talk about the benefits of it, not the detriment of it. But yeah, it's not just old people that are technophobic. I'll tell you that much right now. There's no doubt. It's college grads right this minute that are losing their marbles. I'm sure you've seen it with your inner circle as well.
It's funny because I live in like this bubble of technology and AI. So I feel like when you go outside of that, me, I'm like, wow, everything's so far behind and stuff. It's almost like a glimpse into the future when you go down the rabbit hole and you're just around people in the tech space right now.
Right, right. But you know what? If you're going to come out, you a blue collar trade right now. Can you imagine being a plumber, electrician, or something like that? AI isn't taking away those jobs. You can make a fortune.
Yeah. I think that's the way to go. Like if I was coming out of school right now, if I'm not working in AI, I'd be plumbing.
No doubt about it. In 5 years from now, there won't be anybody to have changed the soles of your shoes. So that's a great profession.
Well, that's what's really interesting about that is I think that 5 to 10 years ago, we thought that the AI kind of job replacement or the AI rollout was going to be the opposite direction. We thought it was going to be like things that don't take a lot of thinking that would, or that are more like hands-on that would first get replaced. And then they would go up to like doctors and lawyers last, and then creatives and stuff. And it's fascinating to watch how it's been like, okay, first it went after creative industries and then after white collar jobs. And it's like the opposite direction of development.
Right. That's exactly right. Well, here an interesting little tidbit that my first job out of college, I would place C++ AI industry experts at mainframes at like Goldman Sachs, Northern Trust, Manufacturers Hanover, Citibank type of locations. And I had no idea what the hell I was saying. I was like, what the hell is C++? Artificial intelligence was such a freaking blowaway. That was my first job out of college. These guys were making $1,000 an hour back then. Yeah. So I've been around AI my whole life. It's amazing how mainstream it is now.
Yeah, like you were there before it was cool.
Way before. These guys were not cool. They were printing money, I'll tell you that. I hated them, but they were printing money.
Yeah,
My first job out of college.
I love it, man. What advice would you have for other marketers trying to keep up and figure out what to do right now as AI comes in and changes the industry?
Get out of the industry. Leave all business. I don't need competition. Go away.
Yeah.
Oh my God. For marketers, what I meet them every day. I was with a prospect yesterday and they showed me their creative over the last 5 years. It was so bad. So my advice to any marketer is if you're going to do this job, give it everything you got. Don't be doing cutting corners. Don't do the templates. Clients need you. If you take them this industry on, if you really care about it, team up with super creative people in all aspects and make sure you're giving every client the best possible thing because they're relying on you. Their career is in your hands. So that's my advice. Give it everything you got. And in today's time, with all the tools we have now, there is no excuse whatsoever for not pumping out really amazing creative. No excuse.
Like spend the time, get really good at using AI because like you don't really have a choice.
Right. AI and some of the tools that came out right before AI. I mean, if you're a Canva guy, well, the Canva is real deep. Photoshop, you could spend years and not touch half the tools that Photoshop it has. Don't just use the basics. Get to know your tools. Be a craftsman. Be an expert. That would be my advice.
I love it. And it's funny too, because a lot of those tools, like even the ones you just listed, like Canva, Photoshop, like they're all coming out with AI additions to them as well.
Yeah. Are you a Photoshop guy?
I've used Canva, I'm not a Photoshop guy. No.
Yeah. So if you go into Photoshop right now and you put your picture up and you say generative, put a hat on top of your head right now, it'll give you 3 versions and it's still pretty bad. I mean,
Yeah.
it's pretty impressive that it'll put a hat on your head. I mean, if you're settled for that, but in the land of where do I see creative, like once that immersion comes in with code and the different prompts and the engineering and the speed, it's going to be pretty sick.
Yeah. Even have you played around with the new ChatGPT 4 image model?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, that one.
Still a week right now. I'm not impressed yet, but the core of it is incredible, and what it will be able. Yeah, it's pretty strong.
Yeah, that was a huge step towards like just generating images for like ad creative and stuff like that. Like I've seen lots of people now using that, just making all their ad creative in that or other tools that use that in the background and stuff. So like the rate at which it's changing is crazy.
I have a question for you. For AI, do you use it to help you build ideas on how 5 million people will watch this podcast?
For the podcast, it's funny. For the podcast, I use it for like background research. I like feed in all of our initial discovery calls and stuff to get topics and like figure out direction I want to take the conversation and stuff. So I use it for all of that, but I haven't for distribution, but I probably should.
Why not? Right? I mean, this is a killer interview. Anybody who's watching this is enjoying every second of it, I'm sure. Man,
Yeah, just a pat on the back. Yeah.
I mean, literally, these are so much fun to do. I'm so blessed that you offered me to be a part of your show. You're a really good interviewer because you know how to pace people's questions. I've been on a lot of podcasts where they like almost talk over you, but I've really enjoyed the pacing of the conversation.
Man, I really appreciate that. It's great to have your personality on here and stuff too. It's been a great conversation, man. And if for the listeners as well, like where can they find out more about you and about the OGK if they're interested?
Yes, you just said the actual URL. So we are theogk.com, so OGK Creative. tolep.com is our website. I have my own Instagram type portfolio. So Tolep Photo is my Insta. And soon I'll be launching my dream job coming out real soon.
Awesome, man. Love it. Is that a personal like hobby, photography, or is that linked to OGK?
It feels so good. My girlfriend yelled at me. She said, "I've known you like 7 years. You've helped so many young people how to interview, how to position themselves, how to do personal branding. So why don't you just help people like, from time to time? Maybe we're on a vacation and you could do a Zoom. Why not?" So I took her advice and I'm gonna start doing it a little bit more often.
Yep. Get the personal brand going. I love that.
That is a game changer when you have a personal brand kit versus sending a resume. Like everybody, I say, take your resume, throw it in the garbage. We don't need it anymore. I want you to do a video and you're going to send it to a prospect and you're going to take the next 60 seconds. You're going to say to him, "Hey, I'm Don Tolp. Let me show you why you want me. Call me today. In about 5 minutes, I'm going to get another offer. So you got 5 more minutes. I got hurry. Like have fun with it." That's a lot better than a resume.
100%. And I think too, building a personal brand and building that trust with people is going to be the most powerful thing. As AI just democratizes content, everyone's producing cookie cutter AI generated stuff. It's like, how do you cut through the noise? And I think personal brand is a huge part of that.
It really is. It's the only danger we have as individuals. As a, why should I care about you? Who are you? Get out of my way. I don't know you.
Yeah.
You got 2 seconds, right? You got 2 seconds.
Yeah. And even like, are you a real person? I think we're getting to that point pretty quickly as well.
Exactly. You a bot? Whatever it's incredible, right? All right? So I have one last question before we hang, which is, how do you feel about the way celebrities are being replicated in all these parodies, even our main politicians like our presidents? What do you think is going to impact AI and how long can that go on for, in your opinion?
It's interesting because I feel like we've seen misrepresentation in the media for a long time, especially on the political side, where it's like, can you really trust what you say? Like different stations are very obviously biased towards different political candidates, for example. And I think that the deep fake stuff where you can like create the president saying something is just another step kind of in that direction where a video feels more tangible, more real than maybe reading a blog article. And typically, but I think like what's happening is I think we've seen it for a long time. I don't think it's going to completely change the game when there's videos that are fake and stuff, because there was a lot of fear about this like 5 years ago, the deep fake stuff when it first started coming out.
Yep.
But I don't know. I think it's kind of a scary time, but a really exciting time to be living through. And I'm sure that we'll all figure it out and stuff. And I'm looking forward to seeing what happens over the next few years with AI.
Exactly. As long as we're smiling, that's all about it. And drinking that good Canadian beer. You need both.
Yeah, that's the thing. We got stronger beers up in Canada.
Crack-a-moose.
Love it. Awesome, Don. I love it, man. Well, it's been a great conversation. Really appreciate you taking the time, man. And for everyone listening, man, go check out Don and yeah, don't be a stranger. Check out Don and the OGK. Thanks again, Don.
Love it, bud. Be well.